Have you felt that sudden spike of panic when your footing slips on a wet bathroom floor? That moment when your heart pounds and your arms flail, desperately searching for something to grab onto? If you're over 60, I know you understand exactly what I'm talking about. I've been there myself. You've started scanning every floor for uneven surfaces. You grip handrails like your life depends on it, because deep down, you know it might. You avoid stairs when you can. Loss of balance is a silent predator. It doesn't announce itself. One fall is all it takes to go from living independently in your own home to lying in a hospital bed you might never leave. But this isn't really about tripping over a rug or slipping on ice. This is about the moment your entire life shatters when your independence, your dignity, and your freedom are stolen from you in a single second. But here's the truth most doctors never tell you, and it changed everything for me when I discovered it. Balance is not a gift you're born with that fades away as you age. Balance is a skill. Let me say that again because it's that important. Balance is a trainable, improvable, rebuildable skill. Whether you're 60, 70, or even 80 years old, you can get it back. I'm living proof of that. Today, you and I are going to do two important things together. First, we're going to discover exactly where your balance stands right now with two simple tests you can do at home. Then, I'm going to share 5 specific exercises that have helped thousands of seniors just like us rebuild their stability and walk with confidence again. These aren't complicated gym routines. These are gentle, effective movements you can do in your living room, and trust me, they work. Now, I didn't develop these exercises myself. I learned them from someone extraordinary, and I want to tell you about him. His name is Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, and he's Japan's oldest practicing doctor, still seeing patients at 93 years old. Can you imagine that? 93 and still helping people every single day. He has dedicated over 6 decades of his life to helping seniors maintain their mobility and independence. Dr. Tanaka has guided thousands of patients through balance recovery, and his methods have been refined through generations of practice. When I came across his work, one thing he said stuck with me. He said that balance is not something that abandons you with age. It is something that weakens when neglected and strengthens when trained. Your body wants to be stable. You simply need to remind it how. That gave me so much hope, and I know it will give you hope too. Before we begin any tests or exercises, let's talk about something that matters more than anything else: safety. This is rule number 1, and I cannot stress this enough. Please, before you attempt any movement, position yourself in a safe environment. Stand in a corner of your room where 2 walls can catch you if you lose balance. Place a sturdy chair with a high back within arm's reach. If you have a family member or caregiver nearby, ask them to spot you during these exercises. That's what I do when I practice at home. If at any point you experience dizziness, sharp pain, or feel genuinely unsafe, stop immediately. There is no shame in this. This is not a competition. This is not about proving anything to anyone, including yourself. This is about honest assessment and safe practice. Your goal is improvement over time, not perfection today. If something doesn't feel right for your body, simply skip it and move to the next exercise. I mean that sincerely. Your safety matters more than completing every single movement. All right, let's get started with our first assessment. This one is called the Tandem Stance Test, and it's going to reveal something important about your balance coordination. I remember the first time I tried this test. I was honestly a little nervous about what I might discover, but knowing where you stand is the first step to getting better. Here's what this test measures. The tandem stance evaluates your heel-to-toe balance coordination. This is the same type of balance you use when walking in a straight line or navigating a narrow hallway. It tests how well your inner ear, your ankle stabilizers, and your core muscles work together as a team. To perform this test, you will stand with one foot directly in front of the other, heel touching toes, as if you're standing on a tightrope. Your goal is to hold this position for 30 seconds without stepping out of line or grabbing onto something for support. Before you begin, position yourself in that corner we discussed, with walls on two sides and your chair nearby. Test 1. Execution and benchmarks. Now, get into your starting position with me. Place your right heel directly against your left toes, creating one straight line with your feet. Stand tall, lift your chest, and find a focal point on the wall ahead of you. Don't look down at your feet. Your arms can be at your sides or extended slightly for balance. I'm going to count us down, and then we'll start the timer together. Ready? 3, 2, 1, begin. Feel your weight distribute between both feet. If you sense wobbling, that's completely normal. Your ankle muscles are making thousands of tiny adjustments right now. Keep breathing steadily. Don't hold your breath. If your foot touches down or you step out of position, note the time. 10 seconds. Keep going. You're doing great. 20 seconds. Almost there. 30 seconds. And release. Excellent work. Now, let me share how to interpret your results based on Dr. Tanaka's guidelines. For those aged 60 to 64, holding for 20 to 30 seconds is good and 30 seconds is excellent. For 65 to 69, 15 to 25 seconds is good. For 70 to 74, 12 to 20 seconds is good. For those 75 and above, anything over 10 seconds shows solid balance. Remember, wherever you are today is just your starting point. You cannot improve what you do not measure. I'd love for you to pause this video and share your results in the comments. Write something like, "I'm Bob, 67, from California, and I held it for 22 seconds." Your comment might be the encouragement someone else needs today. That was really helpful, wasn't it? Now let's move to our second assessment. This one is called the single leg stance, sometimes called the Flamingo test. I'll be honest with you, this one is more challenging than the first test, but that's exactly why it's so valuable. The single leg stance evaluates your unilateral balance, which means how well each side of your body maintains stability independently. This is crucial for real-life situations like stepping over an obstacle, climbing stairs, or recovering when you trip. Think about how many times a day you're essentially standing on one leg, even if just for a moment. Getting out of a car, stepping into the shower, picking something up off the floor. This test measures your hip stability, your ankle strength, and your proprioception, which is your body's ability to sense where it is in space without looking. For this test, you'll stand on one leg with your other foot lifted slightly off the ground. You may keep your hands on your hips or extend them to the sides for balance. Your goal is to hold this position for up to 30 seconds, then repeat on the other leg. Position yourself safely with your chair and walls ready. Stand with your feet hip-width apart. Choose a focal point at eye level, something stationary that won't move. I like to pick a spot on the wall or a picture frame. When you're ready, slowly shift your weight onto your right leg. Feel your right foot grounding into the floor like the roots of a tree. Now, gently lift your left foot just a few inches off the ground. You don't need to lift it high. Even 1 inch counts. Start your timer now. Feel your standing leg working. Your ankle is constantly adjusting. Your hip muscles are firing to keep you level. This is exactly what we want. If you need to put your foot down, note the time and try again. 15 seconds. Keep breathing. Find your stillness within the wobble. 30 seconds. And release. Now switch to your left leg and repeat the same process. Here are the benchmarks for this test. For ages 60 to 64, 25 to 30 seconds is good, and 30 or more is excellent. At 65 to 69, 20 to 30 seconds is good. At 70 to 74, 15 to 25 seconds is good. At 75 to 79, 10 to 20 seconds is good. And for those 80 and above, anything over 7 seconds shows maintained balance ability. Now, I know some of you might feel discouraged after this test. Please don't be. When I first tried this, I was surprised by my results too. But this information is valuable. It tells your body exactly what needs strengthening, and that's powerful knowledge to have. If you're finding this helpful so far, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below this video. It's a small thing, but it makes a big difference. It helps other seniors find this advice, and our community grows stronger when we share these resources. I also love reading your test results in the comments. When you share your experience, you might be the encouragement someone else needs to start their own balance journey. I read every single comment, and it genuinely warms my heart to see people supporting each other. Now, let's move into the 5 exercises that Dr. Tanaka developed over his decades of practice. These exercises target the exact muscles that keep you stable and confident on your feet. I do these every single day, and they've made a real difference in my life. Let me walk you through exercise number 1. Exercise 1, one-leg stand. Exercise 1 is the one-leg stand, and it is critical for preventing accidental falls in daily life. This is probably the most fundamental balance exercise you can do, and Dr. Tanaka considers it the foundation of his entire program. You will need a sturdy, high-back chair for this exercise. Stand tall behind the chair with both hands resting gently on the back. Your feet should be hip-width apart, and your weight should be evenly distributed. As you exhale, slowly shift your weight onto your right leg. Feel your right foot pressing firmly into the floor. Now, with control, lift your left leg by bending your knee until your thigh is parallel to the floor, or simply let your foot hover a few inches off the ground if that's more comfortable. Hold this position for 5 to 10 seconds while breathing steadily. The most important part of this exercise is keeping your hips level. Imagine there is a rope running through your body from the crown of your head straight down through your standing heel, keeping you perfectly aligned. Now, let me share the common mistakes I see people make, and that I made myself when I started. The first mistake is moving too fast. This exercise requires slow, controlled movement to build those stabilizer muscles. The second mistake is shifting your hips outward toward the standing leg. This compensation reduces the effectiveness of the exercise. Keep your hips square as if they're headlights pointing straight forward. The third mistake is holding your breath. Steady breathing helps maintain balance and prevents unnecessary tension. Do this exercise 10 times on each leg for 1 to 2 sets. If you start wobbling too much, grab your support immediately. This should never cause pain or sharp discomfort. Exercise 2, side leg raises. Exercise 2 is side leg raises, and this strengthens your hip abductors, the muscles on the outside of your hips that are crucial for lateral stability. These are the muscles that catch you when you stumble to the side. And let me tell you, strong hip abductors can be the difference between catching yourself and taking a fall. Stand beside your chair with one hand resting on the back for support. Your feet should be together, and your posture should be tall with shoulders back. I like to imagine I'm standing against a wall, keeping my whole body in one straight line. Slowly lift your right leg out to the side, keeping your toes pointing forward, not upward or outward. Lift only as high as you can while keeping your body upright. Usually 6 to 8 inches is plenty. Lower the leg with control, taking 2 full seconds to bring it back down. The key focus here is to lead with your heel, not your toes. Imagine you're pushing against a wall with the side of your foot. Here are the mistakes to avoid with this one. The first common mistake is leaning away from the lifting leg. People do this to lift higher, but it uses momentum instead of muscle. Stay upright like a flagpole throughout the movement. The second mistake is rotating your foot outward as you lift. This engages the wrong muscles entirely. Keep your toes pointing forward as if they're stuck in that position. The third mistake is lifting too high and straining the hip joint. Quality matters more than height. 6 to 8 inches with perfect form is better than 12 inches with poor form. Complete 12 to 15 repetitions on each leg for 2 sets. Move with a slow tempo, 2 seconds up and 2 seconds down. Exercise 3, heel to toe rocks. Exercise 3 is heel to toe rocks, and I have to tell you, this one quickly became one of my favorites. It activates your ankle stabilizers and calf muscles, which Dr. Tanaka often calls your second heart, because of how important they are for circulation and stability. Your calves pump blood back up to your heart when you walk, so keeping them strong serves double duty. Stand with your feet hip-width apart and parallel, with your fingertips resting lightly on your chair or a wall for minimal support. Rise up slowly onto your toes, as if you're reaching for something on a high shelf. Feel your calves engage and your body lift. Hold briefly at the top. Then lower your heels and rock backward, shifting your weight onto your heels and lifting your toes off the ground. Return to the center position with your feet flat, then repeat the sequence. Think of your body like a rocking chair, smooth and controlled, never jerky. That image really helped me when I was learning this exercise. Now for the mistakes to watch out for. The first mistake is rushing through the movement. This should feel like meditation in motion, slow and mindful. When I first started, I was going way too fast, and I wasn't getting the full benefit. The second mistake is gripping your support too tightly. Use only your fingertips, just enough for emergency balance, not as a crutch. You want to challenge your balance, not avoid the challenge altogether. The third mistake is using partial range of motion. Go all the way up onto your toes, then all the way back onto your heels to fully activate the muscles. Complete 15 full rocks, where going forward and back counts as 1 repetition. Do 2 sets. Exhale as you rise up, inhale as you rock back. Exercise 4, 3-point touch. Exercise 4 is the 3-point touch, and it trains your dynamic balance and weight shifting ability. This is where things get a little more interesting, but don't worry, I'll walk you through it, step by step. This exercise mimics real-life situations like reaching for something while standing on one leg. You may use 3 small markers on the floor if you like, such as coins or pieces of tape, positioned in front of you, to your side, and behind you. I use 3 bottle caps at home, but anything small works fine. Stand on your right leg with your chair nearby for safety. Your left foot will reach out to touch each point, while your right leg does all the stabilization work. Think of your standing leg as the star of this exercise. It's doing all the real work. First, reach your left foot forward to touch the front point, then return to center. Second, reach out to the side to touch the side point, then return to center. Third, reach behind you to touch the back point, then return to center. That is 1 complete cycle. The reaching leg is just lightly tapping each point without putting any weight down. Think of your feet like the hands of a clock reaching toward 12, 3, and 6. Here are the mistakes to avoid. The first mistake is putting weight on the touching foot, which defeats the entire purpose. Just tap, don't transfer. The second mistake is looking down constantly, which throws off your balance. Pick a point ahead of you and trust your body to find the targets. This was hard for me at first, but it gets easier with practice. The third mistake is rushing between points. Pause in the center between each touch to reset your balance. Complete 8 full cycles on each leg for 2 sets. Start with small reaches and gradually extend your range as you improve. Before we jump into our 5th and final exercise, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Drop your country in the comments below. It always amazes me to see our community stretching across the globe. We have viewers from the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, the Philippines, and so many other countries. I saw a comment last week from someone in New Zealand and another from Brazil. Seeing your comments reminds me that we're all in this together, no matter where we live. Balance challenges affect seniors everywhere, and supporting each other makes all the difference. So take a second, scroll down, and let me know where you're joining us from. Now, let's finish strong with exercise 5. Exercise 5, rocking the boat. Exercise 5 is called rocking the boat, and it is the ultimate balance challenge in today's routine because it combines weight shifting with single leg stability in a flowing movement. This is Dr. Tanaka's signature exercise, and once you get the hang of it, you'll understand why. Stand with your feet hip-width apart and extend your arms out to your sides like airplane wings. Your arms are not just for show. They are balance poles that help you stabilize. When I first did this exercise, I felt a little silly with my arms out like that, but trust me, it makes a huge difference. Slowly shift all of your weight onto your right foot. Feel your right leg become solid and grounded. Once you're stable, lift your left foot out to the side a few inches off the ground. Hold this position for 3 to 5 seconds, feeling the gentle challenge, like standing in a small boat that's rocking on waves. That's where the name comes from. Then slowly lower your left foot, shift through center, and transfer your weight entirely to your left foot. Lift your right foot to the side and hold. Continue alternating side to side in this flowing motion. What makes this exercise so effective is the transition, that moment when your weight shifts from one foot to the other through the center. This is exactly what happens when you walk, when you turn, when you recover from a stumble. You're teaching your body to be comfortable with that brief moment of instability. Here are the mistakes to avoid. The first mistake people make is keeping their upper body stiff. Let your arms help you. They are your balance poles. The second mistake is lifting the foot too quickly. Take 3 full seconds to lift and 3 seconds to lower. The third mistake is forgetting to breathe. Steady breathing equals steady balance. Complete 10 repetitions on each side, alternating for 2 full sets. Want to share the progression levels for this exercise so you can challenge yourself appropriately as you improve. At the beginner level, keep both hands on the back of your chair throughout the movement. This is where I started, and there's absolutely no shame in it. At the intermediate level, use one hand on the chair while extending the other arm out for balance. At the advanced level, use only your fingertips on the chair for minimal support. At the master level, perform the exercise with no support at all. I'm currently working at the advanced level myself, and some days are better than others. There is no rush to progress. You may stay at the beginner level for weeks or even months, and that is perfectly fine. The goal is consistent practice, not rapid advancement. This exercise teaches your body to recover balance, which is perhaps the most important skill for preventing falls in real life. When you stumble, your body needs to know how to catch itself. Rocking the boat trains exactly that response. Take a moment right now to appreciate what you just accomplished today. Seriously, I want you to feel good about this. You assessed your balance with 2 clinical tests that physicians actually use in their offices. You identified exactly where your baseline is, which is information most people never take the time to discover. You learned and practiced 5 targeted exercises that strengthen the specific muscles responsible for keeping you upright and confident. You dedicated time to your own health and safety. This is not a small thing. This is real self-care, the kind that actually changes lives and protects independence. Many people talk about wanting better balance, but you took action today. You showed up for yourself, and that takes courage. Whether you made it through every exercise perfectly or struggled with some of them, you did something important today. I'm genuinely proud of you for being here.